right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Super Magic Show episode 15. We're supposed to go live yesterday. There were some scheduling conflicts that went on. We're going to reschedule that guest for a future episode. Today, we're going to be talking about, I'm going to bring back a guest that I had on actually during episode 2 of the Super Magic Show. We're going to talk about we're talking about a lot of different stuff. Actually, somebody in the chat just said you're one of the only Dragon Ball YouTubers who goes live on good European times. Well, it's funny because literally 5 comments above you, some guys like, alive at 3 a.m. I hate to break it to you, buddy, but the world is round. And because the world is round, that means that someone's probably live at all times of the day. If you don't believe me, go to Twitch. You are guaranteed to see somebody playing a video game 24 hours a day because people are just the way it is. So anyways, I'm going to bring on Kanji here in a minute. He was on episode 2 of the Super Magic Show. And what happened was, at the time, I was not in my home studio. I did not have my good internet. I just didn't. And basically, there was a lot of skipping going on. I was freezing a lot. I'm not too proud of that episode. It wasn't my fault because I was not home. And that house that I was staying at had very spotty internet. That was, of course, when Hurricane Milton came in and knocked the power away from, all of us. So, but today we've got good internet. And so it's a perfect opportunity to bring Kanji back. What's up, brother? Welcome back with good internet this time.
Thanks for having me on, man. It seems as though we can't actually, do an internet thing together unless there's a natural disaster going on in the world or something like that. I'm just glad that you're kept well and safe away from this one.
Yes. It's interesting because somebody who I know I'm not going to name their name names, but he basically was telling me something to the effect of, because he was going to move to Florida. He's like, well, maybe I dodged the bullet. And he lives in LA. And I'm like, well, you may have dodged the bullet, but this one got you. And I say that only because when you really think about it, there's only a few places in the world that are truly safe from everything. You know what I mean? Like there's always something coming around.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, we're pretty fortunate over in the UK. We don't get too much of stuff. I suppose it's the benefit of being a diddy little island in the middle of the world. But, it's just one of those sorts of things where, as you say, you get your own problems, though. I mean, like we often don't get the joy of having live streams start at normal times. We're very fortunate that you managed to fit us in and be able to do it. So it's only 10 p.m. for me at the moment. So it's pretty reasonable.
Right. No, and I asked you if it was okay. I was like, is that too late? Because everyone's like that. So we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Daima today. And this has not been a very good week for Dragon Ball Daima. We're going to go into it. But before we do, I want to peel the curtain back a little bit here. I don't talk to you about Daima every single week. So you're not somebody who I like after every episode we have a conversation about it. I know that.
I'd like to be. Yeah, so
I just it's not anything that with you in the sense of like I don't want to. It's just more about like just the way my schedule works on Fridays is that's the busiest day of the week for me because I have to watch Daima on Fuji, I have to watch Daima subbed, I have to review it, then I have to go right to my breakdown video, and I want to get that done before SmackDown. So literally, it's an all day. I'm working all day. And so I don't even do that with anybody.
Fridays are mad.
The only time I ever end up having a conversation like on a weekly basis is usually a couple days later. Now, I'm saying that as an introduction because I don't know what your current thoughts are on Daima. So let's put episode 13 aside for a minute. What have you, because the last time you and I met, episode 1, only one episode had been out. Now we've got 13 out of 20. I want to ask you about the first 12. What did you think about the first 12 episodes of Daima?
It's interesting because the first 12 episodes of Daima, it's spotty, let's be honest. There's some really good moments in amongst a lot of, I don't want to use the word filler, but it definitely feels like at times the show drags its feet and puts the brakes on in order to slow the plot down. And the plot already moves pretty slowly. And there's a really interesting, there's another TikTok going around in circulation at the moment. It's an old clip of Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park. And they're talking about how you structure a story. And it's really interesting clip because what they're doing is they're pointing at a blackboard and sort of saying, this is all your story beats for an episode. If at any point in these story beats between them, there is space for the words and then, instead of something like therefore this happens or but this happens, you have a boring story. And there does tend to be a lot of and then this happens and then this happens, and it doesn't seem to be consequential of anything that's been set up, like the ship breaks down. Oh, the ship breaks down again.
Oh, I got some comments about that. Yeah. Coming. Yeah.
But generally speaking, if you strip that stuff out of the story, have there been interesting characters? Yeah. Have there been interesting new lore building and world assets and stuff added into it? Absolutely. Are we learning more about the species and the aliens and all this kind of stuff that we've always known in Dragon Ball and where their roots have come from? Yeah, sure. Have there been some good fights? There's been some great fights. What's the music like? The music's really good. All these sorts of things, I'm finding myself to be invested in the things that they want me to be invested in. I'm not so invested in the bits where basically I feel like it's dragging its feet, but I feel that probably everybody feels that way.
No, I mean, it's interesting because I like to what I do that I think a lot of people need to do, right? And this is not, Danny's is built different. No, I think it comes with maturity and just doing this for 10 years, because this is my 10-year anniversary coming up in March for YouTube, is I like to kind of take a step back and kind of view things from a lot of different perspectives and kind of see things from a bigger picture. And I've noticed that with Daima, I choose not to really get super engaged in debates anymore because they end up being a waste of time, and they usually end up leading to bad feelings or something. It doesn't end up having a positive conclusion, but there are healthy debates to have. Like it just depends on the maturity of the two people. And when it comes to other content creators, specifically on the platform, I don't like debating them because their audience will always take their side and my audience will always take my side. And it's very hard to find an unbiased group. There was a time many years ago where I had this idea. I was going to do a tournament, and the tournament was going to be the greatest fight in Dragon Ball. I was going to pick 8 fights and assign them to a YouTuber, and then do like a tournament style debate here on the channel and have 2 content creators basically telling each other why the fight that they got is better. And then I started thinking about it, and it became very unfair because one of these creators had 900,000 subs. The other one had 100,000. And so the 900,000 always feels like there's more going on and just trample over the 100,000. And that's something I've been very, very cognizant of.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you probably remember as well, Reel to Reel did a jokey debate series for a while, and we are going back years now. We are going back many years. And the only way that we managed to do that kind of stuff and keep it lighthearted and fun was by making it silly and jokey. And so we gave each other stupid topics that people would never choose to argue about. And some of those videos are probably aged poorly, but they were a good time, And so I get what you mean. It does come from a point of who can be trusted to not take things too far. And also it's just kind of, whose fan base won't take things too far.
Yes. Definitely leave a like if you're stopping by. Thank you, Bob Zaw. Leave a like if you're stopping by. So, no, but I'm getting to my point here. So I've noticed that Daima, I think there's a definitive split amongst people's opinions on this show. there are some people that just straight up will not give it a chance because they think they're doing GT over again. And it's hard to argue that after this past episode, because some of it is very GT. And this past episode was a remake of GT episode 6, basically, with extra stuff. I pointed that out in my breakdown. So there's that. And, you know, again, the people who never gave it a chance, I don't really count them, because they, again, if you're a Dragon Ball fan and you don't even try, you sat through 27 episodes during Super of 2 movie retellings that were ass compared to the original movie, but you can't sit through 20 episodes of a new story. It's kind of stupid. Now, there's people who, I think it comes down to what you think about Dragon Ball. If you are one of those people that's super studious, that reads a lot of Toriyama, reads a lot of Dragon Ball, has actually seen everything, I think people, I think you will go into Daima with a better understanding of Toriyama's humor, how he does things, etc., etc., etc. Whereas if you got into Dragon Ball during Z and your entire perspective of what Dragon Ball is the Frieza saga, the Cell saga, you know, this science fiction space fight, and you've been playing the video games, if you're part of that side of the fandom, you're not going to be that into it because you don't care that much about the lore. To you, Dragon Ball isn't even Dragon Ball. And we talked about this last week. It's with Derek Padula. It's Dragon Ball Z with cool fights, which they are, and cool characters, but that's all Dragon Ball Z is to you. That's all 100%. It is.
100%. Yeah. It's funny, actually, that you mentioned this, because one of the things that I wanted to bring up in this video is very recently I had some friends come to me that are in my sort of like outside circle. They're not people that are involved in the YouTube community at all, but they loved Dragon Ball growing up. And they sometimes come to me and they're sort of like, I was thinking about watching Super, and I was like, okay, well, you know, here's something to think of before you start doing it, and then maybe consider whether you're going to like it or not, because I know that they're Dragon Ball Z fans. They're not Dragon Ball fans. They're Dragon Ball Z fans. And there's nothing wrong with that inherently at all. But the thing is, it isn't what the rest of Dragon Ball is like. So you get a good chunk of Super, which represents that style of Dragon Ball Z, like the Tournament of Power and that kind of stuff, which is great. Good fun. Just absolute action after action after action. But then these friends have come to me and they're like, I was thinking about giving Daima a go. And I feel bad, but I've said, hold fire, because I have no idea if the payoff to this story is going to feel like it was worth the weight of the 20 episodes, or worth the weight of 20 episodes, or at least the 13 that we've had up to now. So yeah, it is one of those things where you kind of feel, is this worth recommending to another Dragon Ball Z fan? And so far, I would say a few episodes are.
Well, that's the thing. We're going to get to it. Let me real quick. I want to answer. There's a question in the chat, a comment that I wanted to address. Highball says the problem in Daima's not as good as Toriyama's early Dragon Ball adventures. So even for someone like who breeds Toriyama, I have problems with it. Okay, I agree with you, but guess what? Neither is Super. That's the problem. Super is not better than the original series. Daima's not better than the original series. I've been saying that for years. There's nothing in let me not say nothing. There's very few things in modern Dragon Ball that compare to the original story for a number of reasons. Toriyama was younger. He had a better staff around him. Toei was a different company. You know what I mean? The reality is that going into Dragon Ball Daima and Super, to expect it to be as good as the old shit, you're going to be let down. And I think that's why as Super ended, so many people came out and were like, you know, it really wasn't quite as great as Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball. And it's not. It's not. It's just not. Now, I agree with you that there have been some pretty big highs in Daima. There's a couple of lore bits that I really liked. Obviously, Goku and the Tamagami battle and Vegeta and his Tamagami battle were the highlights as far as action goes. And I will agree that, you know, the series, there are parts of this series that does, in my opinion, waste time. Now, here's the thing, though, and I was thinking about this before we went on the air. I think this fucking guy said the only issue with Super is animation. You must have seen a different show than I did, homie. You must have seen a different show than I did, bro. Don't even get me started on all the things wrong with Super, bro. No, sir. And let me get back to my point. So we know it's 20 episodes, and that's something that I revealed. And I had known for a couple of weeks before I revealed it was 20 episodes. And I'm going to take credit for it because I was the first guy to reveal it objectively. Like, that's not gloating. That's just a fact. I wonder if people thought that this show was 30 or 35 if they would have been so upset at episode 13. Because I'm thinking about it, right? And it's like, well, if this show was longer, like let's just say 35 episodes, right? Then they have a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I said to myself, I'm like, do I really hate this episode? Or do I hate the fact that it's wasting time when we're about to hit the last, 8 episodes or 7 episodes of the series, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't think I would have hated it. I think I wouldn't have loved it. Because there are things about this episode. There are objective problems with the writing about episode 13. Like I talked about it in my review. Like Goku and Vegeta, even without hurting the little teddy bears, could have freaking done the solar flare, blinded them, and gotten the fuck out. Like there's lots of things they could have done, yo. So, and I see people, and the thing that irritates me about discourse on the internet, bro, is that people say shit. And both sides of whether you love or you hate it say stupid shit constantly. And it gets under my nerves because it's like they're not thinking. And I'm a very abstract and I'm a very nuanced thinker. I have a buddy of mine, and him and I talk politics. And he told me, he said, "You're the most independent person I've ever met. Because I don't pick sides in the political aisle because they're both crooked, like both parties are. I don't trust any politician, and I have reasons why." Now, with that being said, I don't talk about that here on the channel. I never will. But the point is, I'm very nuanced. So you got people now, like there was a kid the other day who was like, if Moro had come back, this wouldn't have happened. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know, bro? How the fuck do you know? So you're telling me Toei is incapable of fucking up Moro, bro? That's what you're telling me. And I was nice to him. I said, the problem is Moro anime doesn't exist. You can't compare Daima to a Moro anime that doesn't exist, bro. It's like when people compare Daima to like Kakume. Like you just can't. But at least Kakume actually exists. It's a manga. But you know what I mean? So he's saying that, and I'm like, so you're telling me that it's incapable of that? You're telling me that? Oh yeah, because the Resurrection F arc of Super, which was based on a movie, that was really great. Well, that was Shakespearean storytelling.
Yeah, they had a chance to revise that and change all that stuff as well, and
they blew it. They made it worse. That's the worst arc. So, like, my thing is, it's like these people that are still butthurt over Moro from 2 years ago are now coming out of the woodwork over one episode of Daima not being so great. Oh, see, we told you. What did you tell me, bro? That you're crying because you didn't get what you want? Like,
do you remember the first episode of Super where they were trying to fetch the water to give Videl as a present? And like, if that had come out, people would have been, well, obviously people did moan about it at the time, but a lot of those people forgot it.
No, they didn't, because it's new Dragon Ball. Everybody was going nuts over Battle of Gods arc at first. I remember
the first episode, though. I do remember people being like, what's this? Because they didn't know it was going to do the, how they were going to do the retelling of the two movies. People were expecting it to pick up from after Resurrection F. And when it started off as being the beginning of, well, they didn't know where it was to begin with. They just assumed it was at the beginning of Battle of Gods because Mr. Satan came and gave Goku the money. And I think I just remember people going like, trying to work it all out and going, what did we watch? Is this not the show that we left before? And so I do remember that there were a lot of people moaning about the first episode, but that only leads credence to the point of you never know what you're going to get unless you sit through a lot of this stuff. And, there's still a lot of people out there that didn't like where Super went, but
no, well, but here's the point. The point is that you have people out there who are still butthurt over not getting the moral arc animated, who are now trying to use this as a way to say, haha, see, we should have gotten what we wanted. And it's over one bad episode of Daima, and it's very irritating. It's very irritating because, dude, I know what you're doing. You're fucking emotional that you didn't get what you want. You're a fucking crybaby. And now you're trying to use one bad episode to say, oh, well, we should have got what we wanted. So what if they animated the moral arc and it was trash? Then what? Oh, no, that's impossible because everything Toei puts out is perfect. And it's just so silly. And like, I'm 40. I turned 40 last year and I turned 41 this year. I'm way too old to get into these kind of discourses with these it's either children or it's grown-ass men that think like children. And I'm so past that, right? I'm so past that. I was there maybe 10 years ago. I'm so past it. Now, if we sit here like adults and if we criticize Daima fairly, I agree with you. I think they have wasted too much time. I think that this past episode came at a very bad time because we were trying to get to Demon Realm 1, Demon World 1, right? And instead, we have this little side quest that has no, all right, bro. Last warning, Sean. I've said this every single week. I'm not going to leak it. If you start spamming this, I'm going to ban you. That's your last warning. I've been very kind to you this whole stream, bro. So again, let me reiterate. It's like every week I tell them I'm not going to leak anything and to stop asking for it.
It's because they know that that's the thing.
I thought Geekdom was in his early 30s. That's a compliment, bro. I take care of myself.
You were.
When I started Dragon Ball, I started Geekdom 10 years ago. The point is that I'm way too old to get involved in stupid ass debates with these kids, bro. That's why I don't do it anymore. It's stupid. Like now, if you're intelligent, if you're open-minded, there's reasonable ways to discuss. Well, bro, I warned you. You're out of here. So I warned him, bro. I warned him. This all cap shit with screaming about Toriyama, bro. Yes, I do look young. I appreciate it. My point is this. There are a lot of problems with episode 13. I didn't like the episode. Did I hate it? I can't say I hated it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the episode.
I think I kind of enjoyed picking bits out of it to overanalyze. Like, I'll be honest with you. I haven't been around to watching a breakdown yet, so I apologize if you've already covered this. I think I saw you mention in the thumbnail actually for the Megath. It looked like he was paying homage to the previous design for I think it's Atlas, which is one of the big like the ogres from Dragon Quest. But there's a lot of creatures that pay homage to those previous Dragon Quest illustrations and stuff. And the thing that I thought was interesting was they missed an opportunity with the dog that had ticks. They could have made the tick look like the Dragon Quest tick with the tentacles, but instead they went for weirdly the Broly spider design.
Yeah, I wonder what that was about.
It was an interesting thought. I was like, oh, because they keep doing this thing where they keep bringing back. But then I know it's probably a throwaway joke, so we probably will never see him again. But just in case it was a foreshadowing of stuff, when they talked about the Gygath, if they end up being blue, then we know that it's paying homage again to the Dragon Quest ogres, because that's obviously the Gigantes.
Yeah, right. But Atlas is more powerful, at least based on Dragon Quest lore. But that I'm getting nerdy now. The point I was trying to make, is, I still like, even if you take away episode 13, I have enjoyed Daima. There's a lot of slow parts like episodes 5, 6, and 7 that do kind of get on my nerves. And I talked about that. And I think if they just sped through shit more, if they got through more shit, because I think some of these like side quests can be interesting, but we can't be stuck in the same place, bro. We can't be stuck here in freaking like this one place forever. And what I'm worried about, and I have been very vocal about this, I am worried that the final 3 episodes, which is going to be like the big finale, right, are going to be a letdown because they're going to use up all their time ahead of time. Yeah. So, and that to me, go ahead, bro.
I was just about to say there's a lost opportunity as well with some of the other stuff that they've been doing, like with Kaioshin being able to break the collar that is around Pansy's neck and stuff like this so instantly. That could have been a more interesting arc to drag out than a ship breaking down again, needing to get a replacement ship again, having to go and meet up with Vegeta and Bulma and Hybeast, and then needing to meet up with them again straight afterwards because they didn't bring a ship. All this kind of stuff, like they're sort of dragging out the wrong bits. I feel that some of those other bits, I mean, by all means, you could have made Goku versus Tamagami 3 longer. You know, if they wanted to, that could have been dragged out over 2 episodes if they really wanted to, and that would have been more entertaining than the ship breaking down for a 4th time.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the ship breaking down because I got a super chat about it. I wanted to wait to get there, but the point I'm trying to make is, and this is the type of shit that annoys me, is people can be so immature when it comes to these cartoons. Saying shit like, nah, if Moral would have been around, it's bad. I was like, dude, I'm 40, bro. Like, I just think you're a dumb fuck. Like, people my age look at you like I will send. You know how many times I've had IRL friends of mine, business partners, text me and go, "This is your audience, dude." I'm like, no, that's not my audience. That is not my audience, bro. That's the people on Twitter. That's because it's embarrassing. Right? It's embarrassing. I'm a grown-ass man. The point I'm trying to make is, right, even though you and I have criticisms, I found something very interesting. Oh, sorry, I screwed that up. Something very interesting I want to point out real quick because I was not expecting this. I did a poll in the community tab, and I asked, what did you think about Dragon Ball Daima episode 13? And surprisingly, 56% of people liked it. That won the poll. And I was actually, when I wrote this out, I was expecting it to be more in the I didn't like it or I hated it section. I really did. But people, I guess, are still into Daima. So that means that the people that are into Daima and are watching it are still into it. So I guess that just 1 week of a bad episode wasn't enough to turn them off. Now, you could always make the argument and say, oh, well, those people are going to watch anything Toriyama. And that may or may not be true. I'm going to say may not, because if I take a poll, how many of you have read Dr. Slump? 98% are going to say no if they're being honest. So I don't think that's the case. But Dragon Ball for sure. I will straight up say I felt like episode 13 was the weakest episode we've gotten so far. I think that they needed to progress the plot further. If we had the same episode take place before the Tamagami fight, it wouldn't have been so bad. But you elevate things so high with the Tamagami fight, you build up this momentum, right? And then you just bring it to a screeching halt. And that, I think, was the problem. What do you think?
I agree. I do think there's a common problem with that in all forms of media, whether it be wrestling and all sorts of stuff.
You used to be a wrestler, so you know about the ebbs and flows of a story.
Well, you hope that you get that when you start training, yeah. And so it is a thing that people continue to learn through anything, regardless of whether it's in wrestling or whether it's just in general storytelling. There's always got to be a way to, you got to slow things down a bit, but you shouldn't almost feel like a different show for an episode or something, unless there's a good B plot to suggest why that's happening. The thing that I keep clinging to is when you see stuff like, the Majin Coup reveal, etc., that was met with a lot of criticism online, and nobody is moaning about him particularly now because he's funny and he's seeming to have a purpose to his character, and his character seems like it's going to contribute to something. And it always feels like, with the maths quiz that he solved, and then when he didn't get credit for it, and he was like, oh, all right, whatever. And it feels like, okay, well, they're going to build on that at some point, and next time he's going to be offended by it or something like that. And so all these things you sort of hang on to because you're like, okay, I feel like that is indicative of something that's going to come later. And you never know with a lot of this stuff, but this last episode did feel like what it was meant to do was reference those illustrations Toriyama did for GT, which of course got turned into episode 6. And I mean, even the Megath is the same color of the ogre that Toriyama drew for that illustrational section for his designs he handed over for GT. So there's a lot of things that do feel like they are similar, and similar for the simple reason of just trying to reference itself, which, is, when you've got a big franchise, when it can make nostalgia just by referencing itself. Oh, I've lost your audio.
Oh, no, I forgot to unmute. I'm sorry.
That's good.
I heard everything you said. I didn't unmute the mic. What I was saying was, I've outlined in detail in my review, and I'll go into it here. I did think it was the weakest episode. Now, some people have said episode 7, 5, 6, and 7, and I've said this before, could have been compressed into one episode. To me, this episode was weak because here's the difference between Daima episode like 13 and like some of the other lore-based episodes. In the past, when they've revealed Rymus, the multiverse, the demons sucking blood out of people's backs or whatever, all that shit is interesting and will tie into stuff later on. The teases for the third eye, that's interesting. The multiverse, the ruler of the demon realm, all these things are even the casual Dragon Ball Z fans, most of them will appreciate that. The problem with episode 13 is that all of the stuff that happened in the episode, with the exception of Warp being put to sleep, was inconsequential.
Yeah,
it was inconsequential to the main story. They're never going to go back and deal with these giants again. Presumably, I could be wrong. They're never going to even go back there again. It was a side quest for the sake of it being a side quest, and that I didn't like. You can have interesting side quests. Dragon Ball and Z have interesting side quests. There's some filler episodes of anime that are very, very, very well done. There are some that suck. I think with this one, yes, the animation was beautiful and there was some comedy. But there was nothing that really made me say, okay, this is important. Somebody in the chat earlier was saying I skipped through episode 13. Now, I recommend against doing that with every show. Because if you skip through an episode of a show, you risk missing something.
Absolutely.
But honestly, Kanji, man, this one just doesn't feel like it matters that much. And it doesn't.
I think we'll know in time, but I do want to say that one of the reasons I'm not putting my hat on the fact that I think that a lot of it was inconsequential, because it's all going to seem inconsequential when you haven't seen what comes afterwards. But I do have to say that
I'm just saying this person's right. Go ahead.
Yeah. When it came to that last episode, there is obviously the section with Never. And he is breaking down and going like, we shouldn't be here. This is awful and stuff. Now, I got to say, that's a far cry from the character of his we've seen so far, which says to me that it seems a bit strange that they would do that to his character before we've ever seen him do that before, if you know what I mean. He's not been shown to be this quivering old man who's like, scared of everything. He's been shown to be quite cool, calm, and collected. So to me, I'm thinking that's a weird first time to introduce that if that isn't going to have a knock-on effect on something that comes in future. So when he made that comment about the Gygath at the end, I was there kind of going, okay, well, that could be a joke. It could be a throwaway line. But this also could be leading to something like, maybe it'll be, maybe the fight at the end, perhaps maybe it'll be on that planet and before they've even realized it, and somebody will get, like some bad guy will get crushed or something in a comical way that just happens to reference back to what Never was saying. I don't know, but I feel like at times it's too early to say.
I agree with you.
Comedy Battle of Endor style stuff.
And actually, I want to address some of these super chats coming in because one person brought that up. This is a hot button topic right now, and you and I need to get into it, brother. AirDog711 says, how many times has the ship broken? Recycle plot. Okay. Yes, I agree. The ship breaking down has been done too much. However, if Glorio is purposely breaking the ship to slow down their progress, is it really a recycled plot, or is it foreshadowing for the reveal that he's the one doing it? See,
especially because it hasn't taken them long to solve the problem.
Yes, clearly Glorio is lying when he says, oh, I don't know anything about, technical or mechanics or anything. No, I firmly believe he is purposely, and we know this, he's purposely slowing them down from getting to Demon World 1 because he's trying to give Irene Sue enough time to get her Dragon Ball. However, now that we saw he was on the phone with her in episode 13, which is not inconsequential, that is part of the story. Now he knows that she has the ball. I don't have to break the ship anymore. So if the ship breaks down again, then it's a recycled plot. But you can't really say it. I mean, it is a recycled plot, but if it has that behind it, is it really a recycled plot? If I'm watching, okay, let's stop talking about Daima for a minute. Kenji, I'm just gonna pick something random. If I'm watching Sopranos and Tony gets a letter in the mail threatening his life, and in the next episode he gets another one, and if he get next episode, and then so every episode he gets one till at the end they reveal who it is that a recycled plot? No, that's buildup. So I don't think that, while I understand where AirDog is coming from, I think ultimately that's going to be the big reveal. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I do think there is credence to suggest that there may be more creative ways for him to continue to slow them down. But
I agree with that.
Because they're stuck in a plane or in a ship, it does limit what they can do, especially considering the fact that Glorio is not as strong as the rest of them. And so, there are sort of limited directions for them to take that in without him literally plummeting them down to the planet and going, whoops.
Yeah, he can't kill Goku, right?
Exactly. So, and I mean, I have to say, if this is going to be the way they show it, I would rather they keep showing it in these ways that can be resolved rather quickly, rather than giving us a full episode of them trying to get out of, I don't know, the world of those dogs with the ticks or something, where they're going to keep landing and find their home planet or something. So, yeah, I feel that if they keep doing what they're doing, it's not so bad.
Yeah, and again, I'm not even disagreeing with AirDog, but clearly it's going to have a payoff. All right. This next question from Clystenis. He says, or she, Demon World will be obliterated or destroyed. I think he's asking if we think that the Demon Realm's going to get destroyed. I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't think that Daima's going to end. I do not think that Daima's going to end with the entire Demon Realm being destroyed. I think we'll probably have a new ruler. Maybe it'll be Pansy or somebody else. but I don't think the demon realm's going to be destroyed. That's a big. The only time I've ever seen anything like that, bro, was from Zeno. When he nuked Trunks's like Universe 7, and then he nuked the universes in the TOP. I don't think they're going to do that here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if anybody's going to get put in charge of the demon world, it'll probably be Pansy's father, rather than anything else, because he's been the only loyal, big sort of person they've had help them in this. So that's my thought on that. I don't think that they're going to do anything, because what's the point of introducing all of this world and all this lore if you're just going to do away with it by the end of it? It's no good. The idea is to build up the lore, to introduce it so you can do more stuff with it in future. And that would
that was the original gift. And that was the original intention, is that they were going to do more with it in the future. Because I like I said before, and this is a weeks old topic, the Rima shit. Look, I'm not sure about now, but the Rima shit for sure was going to go somewhere in Super. I mean, in Super. I just don't know where.
Yeah, that's been put in there to address back later. That's not just been left floating for no reason.
Exactly. I really feel that way. JD says, I liked the Magilite idea. He's talking about the substance that's used to power the ship. There's potential that could be used to create super androids or weapons, especially post superhero with Dr. Hedo. So JD has a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Imaginative mind. Maybe you should write your own fan fiction. And I'm not saying that to make fun of you, but the idea of a villain taking that substance and using it to make androids or some kind of weapon is a good idea. That's genuinely a good idea. Like,
I think he's even suggesting that Dr. Hedo do it for the good for Android 17 and 18 going forward to help them.
Like to power them up?
Yeah, because he says especially post superhero with Dr. Hedo, and he's good at the end, isn't he? So,
well, I think it would make more sense. This is going back to classic storytelling. If a villain misuses it first, and then Bulma and Hedo are like, "What if we flipping on them?" I mean, you again, not to go back to wrestling, but you know that if reincarnation is real. I was probably a wrestler in the old days because of how much I love the business so much. What is the classic story of weapons in wrestling? It's been told a million times. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. How come whenever the villain brings the chair into the ring, if he loses because the good guy hits him with the chair? So it's the same thing here. A villain can introduce an idea, right, and use it against the good guys, but then the good guys reverse it on him, and then, I mean, look what happened to Cell. The entire Cell saga, you guys need to go back and watch the Cell saga subtitled, because everybody always talks about how much they love the Cell saga, but very few people really get into the nooks and crannies of why it's a great arc. And it's got problems, but here's why. Because the same exact mistakes that the good guys make, Cell makes in the end. Vegeta let Cell become perfect. Boneheaded. Goku and them leave Dr. Gero alone. They don't even get him arrested. You don't have to kill him, but not even arrest him. We want to fight the androids. We're saying it's still dumb. Like, it's still a dumb move. Krillin didn't destroy the remote control. So there's all these mistakes being made that led to Cell becoming perfect. So what did Cell do? Gohan's like, listen, when I get mad, bad shit happens.
Yeah.
This is the Geekdom 101 dub. In the Geekdom 101 dub, Gohan says, look, bro, when I get mad, bad shit happens. And then Cell's like, is that so? I want to see your power. So I'm going to shit out 7 children to beat up your daddy. And then he gets fucking pissed off. But that's great storytelling because Cell is made of Vegeta's cells. So of course he's going to be an arrogant prick at that time period. But nobody thinks about that shit. Cell makes the same mistakes the good guys make, and I love it.
I gotta say, I love how close that was to the Ocean dub voice of Cell as well. It was a nice tribute, that was.
I just try to do like a Funimation dub, just not exact because I can't. So,
which is basically Ocean by that point of the show.
Well, they did the Cell Saga first, though. Thomas Jeffers says, episode 13 reminds me of the filler in DBZ. When they went to Fake Namek, it was fun till you realize it didn't progress the story. Okay, I agree with you, Thomas, 100%. There's one major difference, though. With Dragon Ball Z, the Fake Namek was episodes 38 to like 41 of 291 episodes. This is episode 13 of 20. See what I'm saying? And so the other day, people were comparing Super to Daima, and most people were saying, well, Danny, one bad episode doesn't ruin the show. I agree with that. One bad episode, it's very hard for one bad episode to ruin an entire show. However, if it's 20 episodes, it's basic math. Look at a piece of pizza. If I'm cutting the pizza into 20 slices, you're going to get bigger slices than if I'm cutting it into 150 like Super was, or 130, right? Which means that every Daima episode matters more than each Super episode because Daima is a shorter series. Am I making sense to you, bro? It's math, so I know you're an artist, and that's,
Maths is not my strong suit, bro. As soon as you started talking about pizza, my ears pricked back up.
That's the best response. But you want me to change it to regular pie? I mean,
I'm more of a pizza man myself. And well, actually, you know what? I won't sign myself up for that.
Here's a great one, bro. How do you know it's 20 episodes? The same reason I knew about Majin Buu, Majin Ku, Marba, the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta 2 months ahead of time, bro. How do I know, bro? I have a magic 8 ball that tells me everything about Super or Daima or whatever the fuck we're talking about. Bro.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball, yeah. All right. Xavier says, I say you should see every ep of a show at least once. I actually agree with him. When it comes to watching television, I think you should watch every episode. So again, even though this episode sucked or wasn't that good, it didn't totally suck. Again, let me explain. I didn't think the whole episode was terrible. It just, I thought it wasted too much time. Again, if Daima were 35 episodes, I would have enjoyed this more. But I still think that people should watch everything to get a complete picture. One of the things that annoys the piss out of me, bro, and I'm sorry if you're one of these people, dude, but it has to be said. The motherfuckers that have never even seen Dragon Ball Z, all they did is play the fucking video games, look up the fight scenes on YouTube, and, oh, that's fine, I get it, and skip all the story shit, then they ask stupid questions. And then they're too ashamed to admit I never saw the series. Just watch the fucking series or read the manga, bro. Like,
until I started doing YouTube, bro, I didn't think those people existed. It just sounded, I was like, there's no possible way people do that. But the amount of comments that you get on videos, especially when you title a video and you're sort of, asking a question to invoke curiosity, and then you get people come into the video and they answer the title of the video in the comment section. I'm not asking you.
Well, not just that, but it's also just like, I understand people want to see the fights. There's nothing wrong with that, but watch the story, bro. Like, there's and Taryn is saying it's got to be kids that's asking those questions. Well, like I said earlier, it's either kids or grown-ups that have the minds of kids. Now, speaking of Taron, his super chat. I didn't dislike episode 13, but I can see why people are about it. Yeah, I didn't hate it, but they could have used their time wiser. For me, because we had a 1 week break, my hype had mellowed out. See, that didn't happen to me, but I understand that. I almost forgot there was a new episode because we didn't get one last week. See, maybe because I do it for a living, bro, but I can't forget that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've never like missed the show for 1 week and just forgotten it existed. Even when I was a kid. What about you?
I will actually say I've done it without a 1 week break. I don't know whether I'm on. I don't know. It's been
maybe
on. And
you and him should fucking write letters to each other or some shit, bro.
Hit me up, Taryn. I've had my wife. She's like sat down. She's like, "Oh, we've got this new episode of this has come out. Do you want to watch this?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." And then 3 weeks will go by, and she'll be like, "We've got like 3 episodes to watch." And I was like, "What of what?" And then so it's very easy. It happens to me all the time.
That means that when you watched that show with her, you were watching it to make her happy, and in your brain you were like, meow 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 meow. That's what happened, bro.
It does
happen.
Right.
Hey, listen, I've
life.
been there. I have been there, bro. I've had exes of mine. Oh God. So one of my exes tried to get me to watch Friends. And I don't like Friends because I tried Friends when I was a kid on TV and it didn't make me laugh. She tried to get me to watch it and I sat down and watched 1 episode. I didn't laugh at all because it's not my kind of humor. Like if you know my kind of humor, I have the kind of humor where it's a lot of dick and fart jokes, funny noises, and perv jokes. That's my humor. And this fucking... I'll be there for you. It's boring, bro. So I'm watching it and I'm like, meow, 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 meow. And then, honey, did you like it? It was okay. Want to watch more? Right, I can't. I gotta like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not for me. Okay. So Zion Don says, do you think Do and Ku will fuse? And do you think Vegeta and Goku will fuse using the bugs and make Majin Vegito? Wait, Majin Vegito? Oh, I see, because it's in the demon realm. Because I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Okay.
Is that where he's going to become a bug?
No, but you know what makes me laugh about this question? Kanji, I get this question literally every week. And because he's donating, I can't even be mad at him because I answer this question every week, but he's donating, so I'm not going to blow him off. But it's
every
just
week
funny.
You've seen another episode and your opinion might have changed.
That's true. That is true. But not when it comes to Ku and Do because they haven't done anything different. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying it's funny because this is a very frequently asked question. I don't think, first of all, if they did fuse and I knew about it, I'm not going to tell you. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to spoil the show on the stream. I think what you're meaning to say, though, is absorb, because I think Majin Do, because he's got like the bubblegum flabby body, could absorb Majin Ku. If that happens, I don't have all. Okay. Kenji, you know this. I do not have every single detail about Daima. I don't know everything that happens. I don't have every character sheet. I have several. I have a lot of it, but I don't have everything. If it happens, I wouldn't be surprised because that's like Dragon Ball. That's, you know what I mean? Yeah, are you writing something, bro? Because you're writing letters to Taryn, bro? Because I see you looking.
No. I was getting ready to write a letter to Taryn, but I had to take a break and think about what I wanted to say first. I thought it was only right to wait until after the stream.
What I was going to say is I actually don't think Goku and Vegeta are going to fuse with the bugs. I think it'll be other people fusing with the bugs. That's just a guess, though. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think because of Kaioshin's reaction to the bugs, if anybody's going to fuse with the bugs, it will be Kaioshin. That's just what it says to me. Like, I'm looking at him and I'm thinking he doesn't want to eat the bug. So of course it's going to happen to him because he's going to do everything he can do to not eat a bug. But I will say that I think that from my personal point of view, I don't know that Do and Ku will fuse or absorb.
Or what about absorb? What about absorb?
I don't think that would happen either. I think what's more likely to happen is that Do will absorb somebody else, like I don't know, like Arinsu or something like that, because Do and Ku get on, and Ku's been getting the short end of the stick, and he's been sort of like dealing with it and taking it on his chin. So I get the impression that then
wait a minute. You said Do and Ku get on, and then he takes it on his chin. What are we talking about?
Maybe I've seen a different version of Daima than you, bro. But
that's the one I want to see, bro.
Yeah, episode
I bet
13
you that
one was
episode.
all right.
I'll bet that episode 13 was good, bro.
But yeah, I think it's more likely that I think those two, maybe that'll be suggested, and Do would turn around and be like, "No, I like him," and it would get turned around and used on somebody else. So I think that's more likely where it's going to go.
We're having a good time today, yo. We try to have a good time on these streams. Yes, I did not really love this last episode of Daima, but unlike a lot of these overly emotional people on the internet, I'm not gonna let it ruin my day. I'm having a good time with Kenji as he writes letters to
it's the people saying major pause in the stream.
let them, because that's good. That means they're having a good time too. I actually have a fun question for you.
What
Kenji.
are you doing, step bro?
I have a fun question for you, bro, and for the chat. So, all this talk of eating bugs in the real world, there are certain countries that eat bugs as a delicacy, like chocolate-covered ants, roaches, crickets. I'm going to ask people in the chat right now. I'm going to put a poll up. Have you ever eaten this in real life? Have you ever eaten bugs IRL? And then I'm going to ask you, bro, have you ever eaten? No, lobster and crab does not count. I'm talking about like roaches, ants, spiders, like they do in like Thailand and shit. So, Kenji, have you?
So I'm gonna give the boring answer here, but it has a sub answer to it itself. I have never eaten a bug. I am pretty squeamish when it comes to that, but I've watched my kid sit in the garden and just help himself to a caterpillar, and I'm just like,
oh my god,
so
do you ever freak out over it?
Well, in the UK, there's nothing really to worry about when it comes to a lot of bugs and stuff like that. So it's more of a, are you all right? And then they're just kind of like, well, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, all right. And then you just keep an eye on them. But no, I tend to be more grossed out than them if that's ever happened. But I would like to say it's only happened once. So
yeah, I can't remember ever eating a bug on purpose. Like I was told a long time ago that we actually eat bugs in our sleep and don't realize it. But my house is very well fumigated. I have a very clean house. There's no bugs in my house. Since I've lived here in the past, I've been living at this house now for 6 years, and I've only seen a roach like twice, and that's pretty good for Florida. So that I just don't know if I believe that. No. But I like trying different types of foods, like international foods. Bugs is not one of them.
Yeah, I would actually go as far as to say I have read online, people would spread those things about, we eat this many bugs in our sleep and stuff like that. There's quite a couple of like TV shows and stuff in the UK where they sort of debunk big sort of like myths and all this kind of stuff. And one of the ones that was debunked on that show was how many bugs we eat in our sleep. But can you
ask them to debunk that Toriyama was going to end Dragon Ball at the Frieza saga but change his mind? Can we send a letter to them to have them do that episode next?
I mean, I know it's a small island, but contrary to popular belief, I do not know everybody in the UK.
Damn.
But I'll work on it and I'll let you know if I do.
All right. Very good. Okay. A-B. Why does the third eye on the belt look different from the intro? Do you think tie-in to Super is Pansy Hibis help look for Super Dragon Balls with their radar? Later on, they don't really need Hibis and last question first. They don't really need Hibis and Pansy to help them find Super Dragon Balls if Bulma made a super radar. So I don't think that's their place with the tie-in. Now, the first question was, why does the third eye look different from the intro? Because the third eye in the intro is when it's activated. The third eye in the intro is when it's powered. The third eye in the intro is when you're about to see some shit, not just the thing on the belt. So
I was wondering, actually, in regards to the third eye, do you think that third eye is actually a red herring? Because that wouldn't surprise me if it's actually just a fashion accessory to Hybis, and and everybody starts scrambling over the belt, and then it turns out that actually it wasn't that at all.
Ooh, I don't think it's a spoiler for me to say that the third eye does have a very important place in the final battle of Daima. So I'm not going to go into details on it. I've said it before. The third eye is like the big, like besides the demonic Dragon Balls, the third eye is like the big MacGuffin. You know what I mean? Like it'll have it's not a red herring. I mean, if it is, then there's another third eye.
Well, I meant that. I meant, like, do you think the belt third eye is a red herring and it's actually a different third eye?
That's possible. That's possible. I don't think so, because it's the one thing Daima has done well is foreshadowing, but it's possible. Gabby says, have you thought of interviewing Damian Clark? Yes, I've tried. I have tried to interview him. I got his number like 5-6 years ago. I texted back and forth with him, and then he just stopped responding after a while. He's very busy. There's other things he's into besides voice acting. That's why you don't see him doing that many roles. So I have tried, and after a while, bro, see, I'm not the kind of guy who will keep reaching out to you.
Yeah, don't pester people.
I don't pester people, dude. Yeah, if they can't, they can. We'll figure something out later. JD says, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just about to say, we spoke to Damian Clark, I believe, when we were sorting out the origins of Sayakon over here. And a similar sort of thing happened. He seemed like a lovely guy. Everybody was talking, and he'd been to another one not far in the area, and so he had connections with us. But eventually the same sort of thing happened. I sometimes think some of these guys just get so busy that they just have to choose not to respond sometimes, or they just genuinely forget. But it's life.
Yeah, he's always been very nice to me. I've never had an issue with him. It's just he's not very good at communicating. I found out also from the agents, or one of his agents a while ago, that he's very hard to get a hold of. It's not even like it's obviously not. You've also validated that. It's just he probably just responds to his family. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
JD says, do you think Shin used his mind reading ability on Glorio established during the Buu saga? No, because then he would know about Arinsu and the secret. He would already know by now. He doesn't know. I'm hoping Toriyama didn't forget. I think Shin is hoping Goku and the journey will have an effect on him. No, I think in this situation you're looking too much into it. I think Toriyama forgot Shin's mind reading just like he forgot Goku's mind reading. Or it's not something that Shin can do in the demon realm, because remember, if Shin is a god in in Universe 7, that doesn't mean his godly powers necessarily work in the demon realm. Now, I can't prove that, but that's a possibility. Go ahead, bro.
There may also be a bit of headcanon here, but also just before that had happened, where he read Vegeta's mind, they had been he'd been using some sort of like spells to sort of like, show everything, what was going on, or whether it was a visual representation is unclear, but it looked as if he was giving off that kind of, he was sending images to everybody's mind, which means there might have been a link formed there for a second, rather than him just being always able to read somebody's mind. Or otherwise he would have known what Babbidy's plans were and everything else. So I think there may have to be a sort of, a link being accepted at both sides sort of thing to do it.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it could be, but they don't give us enough information. This is wrong information right here. Damian Clark is not the voice of Perfect Cell in the Ocean dub. Damian Clark is the voice of Cell in the dub, in the Funimation dub, not the Ocean dub. He also voices Paragus in Dragon Ball Super Broly. Sun X Goku. I would love to know the new fusion name, Kakareta, but I feel Shin and Goku, the good version of Zamasu, but a kid. I guess it is like the good version of Zamasu. It's Goku and a Supreme and a Kai, basically a Kaioshin. I get it. What do you think about Goku and Supreme Kai fusing with the bugs?
I have a feeling it probably wouldn't be Goku because Goku's eager to eat the bugs, and because Kaioshin doesn't want to eat them, I have a feeling it'd be more like Kaioshin and Hybis that will fuse.
Yeah, it'll be done for comedy sakes, and people are gonna scream about how they wasted fusion and that Toriyama was never funny in Dragon Ball Z, even though he was. I made fun of that shit on my Twitch stream because when the Majin Ku thing happened, I made it very clear he was a comedy character. What is this bullshit? Toriyama's lost it. If Dragon Ball Z was serious, and it wasn't. No, it wasn't. You can instantly tell the people who actually have read the manga than those who haven't. You can tell, they give themselves away, bro. I think I told somebody a long time ago, I can tell the kind of Dragon Ball fan someone is in the first maybe 3 minutes of a conversation. I just know, okay, you speak like somebody who's read this or who knows about that. And that's not even it's just a skill it's like wrestling. It's the same thing, or anything, football.
Yeah.
Josh 90, what's great about having the Black Frieza saga after the end of Z is that it can be more unpredictable and shocking. Well, that goes for any arc after the end of Z, but there's no update on that, so we can't really. Well, what can we say? You know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, any arc that comes after the end of Z would be more unpredictable because you don't know where it's going, who's going to live, who's going to die, what stakes are at risk. It's difficult when you write in this pack of time before the end of Z because you know that to a certain extent, everything is going to be okay. The one thing I will say that I've always liked about Frieza and the end of Z is because you never see Frieza at the end of Z, his whereabouts, knowledge, and whether he's actually alive or not is completely up in the air.
Well, originally he wasn't alive until Toriyama brought him back to life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You can change it; it doesn't affect anything. So it's one of those.
Yeah. Same thing with Goku fighting Oob, because we never see Goku use any transformations in that fight. Yeah. You don't have to you're not really you're not saying, well, why didn't he use blue, or why didn't some people think that the Goku that fought Oob was using mastered Ultra Instinct, the real version, the one where it's in your base form. Yeah. And so they'll go back and they'll watch that episode and they'll point out that Goku's aura looks a certain type of way, even though Goku's aura has always looked like that. But still, it's what you just said, bro. They left it open enough to where it's not like a big contradiction. Okay, this is the last one we have right now. Saint Fisuto says, do you think we will ever get an explanation for the twin universe thing? Like how universe 6 and 7 have the same planets? I would have originally told you no, but I wasn't expecting the Rima shit. When I first heard about Dragon Ball Magic, it's a fun little Demon Realm adventure. All right. But I didn't think they were going to explain the origin of the multiverse in this show. So it's possible. I don't think that they will, though, because that's going too close to Goku asking too many questions. I see some people say shit like, oh, but Goku was surprised when Beerus brought up the multiverse. No, he wasn't. Go back and watch Battle of Gods. I rewatched it specifically to make sure. He was not surprised at all. He was just like, oh. And then Beerus is like, don't you think that there's strong guys in those universes too? And then Goku smiles at him. Yeah, that's it. People have retconned it in their head when they're in their head, in Battle of Gods, it went like this. There are 12 universes. Really, Lord Beerus? I never knew. Tell me more. That's not what happened. That is not what happened, bro.
It's because that's how we all reacted, but it isn't how the characters reacted.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. I saw a TikTok about this too. Yeah, but then they scream plot hole without actually going back and watching. And that's what pisses me off. People are so quick to scream plot hole right? Oh, it's a plot hole. Well, no, it's actually not because of this, and this. Then when I say plot hole, oh, come on. Piccolo can forget Namekian. Okay, so Piccolo, Kami, and Nail all forgot Namekian in the span of 15 years. All right.
The Nail bit, I can't overlook that. That's all Nail spoke.
But it irritates me because I'm the guy who tells people this is not a plot hole. You have to read, and I even tell you, read this chapter. I even tell you what to fucking watch. Go back and watch Battle of Gods, bro. Find me the part in Battle of Gods where Goku was like, "Really, Beerus? Can I go someday? I never knew that before. It doesn't exist."
It's the people in the comment section who really, Lord Beerus. You've started something now, bro.
but it's like, bro, it's like that didn't happen. But if I tell you that it doesn't make sense for Piccolo to forget Namekian, it doesn't make sense. It ain't like I haven't thought about it. Well, geekdom, you couldn't leave your country and go to a new country and forget the language. Yeah, you mean like me, who came to this country when I was fucking 6 months old and I still speak Spanish despite not speaking it on a daily basis? Come on, man. I guess some people could forget, but Piccolo forgetting Namekian, it's just there's too many holes there.
I gotta say, just to revert back to something very quickly, because I was looking at all the people talking about how they were looking forward to the idea of then, like, Vegeta and Hybis fusing and stuff. And bro, all I gotta say is Daima's introduced a lot of new characters, and that means if the fusion challenge is popping its head around the corner again, you might have a little bit more difficulty defending that championship of yours.
I might.
I mean, we even had Derek Padula on the last one as well, as you were saying as the previous guest. It's I don't know, man. We're dipping into a pool of new opportunities here.
Well, he did good, bro. He did very good. He did.
Yeah, he did.
He did good. And you're right. There are a lot of new characters, and now with the fusion bugs, maybe I know what you're gonna do, bro. You're gonna do the fusion challenge, and you're gonna make it so that it's 3 characters in one, and then you're really gonna fuck us. That's what you're gonna do, bro.
Dude, I'm doing such a good job of tripping everybody up with just 2 people. Why make it a threesome?
Yeah, I know you there were a couple of those. Oh man, you brought back like PTSD, because there were a couple of those that where I was like, and I'm over here like thinking in my head like, okay, is this from like one of those GT episodes where the character appeared once and never again? Like the Majikayo baby or whatever, or the baby in the locket. Fuck you for that, bro. That's the most evil thing you've ever done, bro.
Baby in the locket, man.
That is the most. You're like, he appeared on one episode. I kind of made you sound like Wade Barrett there. He appeared on one episode very briefly in Super. And
when you were guessing, I was like, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man, that was your worst thing. Okay, we actually got more. I wasn't actually expecting to get more questions, but hey, I can't complain. Sun Goku says, one topic we don't talk about is the future of Super Saiyan forms. We are currently on the trajectory of God forms. What about Super Saiyan 5? I mean, Super Saiyan 5 was fan made, and there's that art that's been out for like 20 years now.
Yeah, but let's not forget who's a big advocate of Super Saiyan 5.
Twinkle. Yes, you're right. No, you're absolutely right about that. And if he's going to be the next guy taking over, anything can happen, man. Like, I don't know how that guy thinks, because, like, bro, when the Acolyte was on the air, he was on like Blue Sky talking about how much he loved the show. And I would send DMs to my friends and with screenshots, and I would say, we're fucked. We're fucked.
I didn't know about
that. He would talk about, I love the Acolyte. What a great character. And I'm like, if this is a good show to him, bro, Dragon Ball is fucked. Toriyama may have taken Dragon Ball with him. And I was joking, but I wasn't. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
there is some concerning stuff there, to be sure.
There is some concerning stuff there, to be sure. You still Ghost Ride Geekdom? How's Diverse? I don't think I ever ghost wrote for Diverge, so no, I don't actually. What the third eye is, when the third eye is used, what kind of magic do you hope to see? I would like to see reality bending, possession, imagine Majin Piccolo spells that prevent transformations, intangibility. Bro, you're doing it again, dude.
I'm replying to one of your comments.
Not you. I'm talking about JD.
I didn't look up.
I'm talking
I thought
about
you were
JD.
accusing me of love writing to Terran again.
No. JD's doing it again, where you're doing the thing where you're letting your imagination run away from you. You do this a lot, bro. You do this a lot, and you're thinking all these things. Like, oh, I would love to see all these powers. You're probably not going to get it, bro. I haven't seen all of the final battle. You're probably not going to get Majin Piccolo. Now, I could be wrong. Again, I haven't seen the last 3 episodes. But only thing I know is the third eye gives you a power boost. Now, does that amplify your magic? Probably. But are we going to get abilities like that? Like, reality bending? I don't think so, bro, because if Goku went up against a reality bender now before the super time period, it would I just don't think so, bro.
And I think if they were going to do a spell that prevented transformations, it would have been done at the beginning of the series, not before the final battle.
I feel like that's still to come. You know what I mean? Like a real reality bending villain is still to come. So,
but I will say that I think you've got a bigger chance of the third eye. If it does get used, it would be similar to what happens with Goku and GT when he swallows the Dragon Ball and it like pops up on his head.
Yes. Well, I mean, the third eye is supposed to go right here, bro.
Well, yeah, exactly. And just like Ten Shinhan as well,
Yeah, the third eye thing, the whole idea behind the third eye, it's a chakra. It's also talked about in a lot of Judeo-Christian stuff. It's a lot of it represents enlightenment. And so when Toriyama was first coming up with like Ten Shinhan, like that's what the third eye was. Here in Daima, it's the same sort of origin, but it's more like power boosting, like from what I understand about the third eye, I don't want to get too much into it, bro.
Yeah.
It gives you a big boost in power.
We can talk about it more when it starts to be foreshadowed a bit more.
Well, when we find out more, yeah. King Shadow says Janemba was a reality bending villain. Yeah, but only in the afterlife that we know of. Like his powers presumably didn't bend into the real world. But maybe there's somebody who can bend reality only in the demon realm. I mean, that's possible. What were you gonna say?
I already saw people talking on X and Blue Sky suggesting the preview for the Taboo episode next. I already saw people saying that was Janemba eating his breadstick or whatever he's doing. And I'm like,
it doesn't even look like Janemba.
No, he had a race stripe down him. He had a go faster stripe. Eat his breadsticks at a higher speed.
And people were asking who it is, and I have no idea who it is. I actually don't know who that is. It's probably not an important character, but I do think that episode 14 will be better than episode 13, because if you look at the next episode preview, Kanji, you see them going to the portal that goes to Demon Realm 1. They're there. So presumably they're either going to get to Demon Realm 1 during the episode or at the very end of it, because you see it there behind Pansy. So that tells me that at least that the plot is going to progress and that we're not going to get another episode like episode 13.
So maybe the guy that we saw in the preview is maybe like a tougher member of the gendarmerie or something to fight them just as they get there, because that seems like an appropriate place to have a fight, right? Just at the entrance to the first demon world. Yeah.
And I want to reiterate this. Episode 13 was fine with me. Depends on what you like. I like adventure. I would normally love episode 13 for what it was, except for some of the stupid stuff. But it's 20 episodes. And that's a big problem because we're running out of time. All right. And then Joey the Lip says, Danny, what do you think about Gohan somehow makes it to the demon realm to save the day, and maybe we get Gohan fusion with Goku or Vegeta? I think you're doing a JD now, bro, where you're creating. All right, you have to be careful with this. Be very careful with this. Don't start imagining these things, and then when they don't happen, you shit all over the series. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen or not. I'm just saying you have to be careful with like imagining shit, like letting your imagination run wild, and then like it doesn't happen. Now, granted, that does not mean that your idea is bad, nor is JD's idea bad. Because actually, one thing I've learned about this fandom is that there's a lot of bad ideas, but there's also a lot of good ideas. And there were multiple people in the chat that were telling JD to write his own fan fiction. And I do think, from speaking to JD in the past, that I don't know what his skills are as a storyteller. I couldn't go into that, but I do think he's one of the guys in the fandom who would probably come up with some creative stuff for Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Right. I do think that, genuinely. And I think that what Joey the Lip is saying would be cool, but brother, Warp just got put to sleep. How's he going to get there? How is Gohan going to get to the demon realm if literally he just got put to sleep and they're going to go the back way? They're going to go in the back door, the way Kanji likes it, right up the back door.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, but I'm not the first. They're gonna think we're gay after the stream.
I know. Yeah, I'm really glad I prefaced this by mentioning I had a wife earlier. Otherwise, there would be questions.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever, bro. I've been called everything in the book. I don't care anymore. The point is that Warp is asleep. And I don't know if Warp's going to wake up till after, like, the end. This guy said good cover. So I don't know if anyone else is... When Warp got put to sleep, in my head, I said, no. Goma said, no one's coming in. No one's getting out. But here's the question, Kanji. Does Goma know about the back way, the back door? Not that back door.
You did that on purpose, bro.
I did. Everything I do is on purpose, except when I'm high. Does Goma know about the back way into Demon World 1? What do you think? Because if he doesn't know, they're going to sneak attack his ass. But if he knows, then...
I mean, logically, you would think as a king, he's got a map of the place that he rules, right? But I don't know.
He's also an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. Here's something I want to ask you. So far, have you been disappointed with Degasu's character? Because he looked far more menacing in all of the
He hasn't done shit. He hasn't done
just
shit.
Wept.
He hasn't done anything. Like, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if disappointed is the right word. I think it's more so like I'm waiting to see if he does anything, because he's just right. Because okay, hold on. That's a good question. Actually, you should have super chatted that to me, bro. Because I need the money. No, all jokes aside, like what's gonna be interesting, right? Is when all three parties come together. So we're going to have Shin, Degasu, and Arinsu, all with different groups, all with different goals. And that is where I think we're going to see. I can't say disappointed because I know we're getting there based on foreshadowing, but these are all siblings. So what's going to happen when they all see each other? So I love this, because this is my favorite comment, bro. That's the comment of the day right there, bro. But anyways, what was I saying? Okay, yeah. So when they all see each other, I think that's where like the story, like their story will pay off. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think even before then, I'm slightly underwhelmed. I had a feeling as a Makayo Shin, he was going to be far more evil. I think that Arinsu is a far more compelling character because she's done more, obviously. But when it comes to Degasu, he's just not done anything. I mean, the most he's done so far has been turn off Warp Summer, and that was in the last episode that everybody seemed to hate. Not hate, but you know what I mean.
I don't know if I want to go into this topic, but fuck it, I'll go into it. When Dr. Arinsu, when they revealed that the Glins are genderless, there were some people I saw on social media. I'm gonna be careful how I say this. On two different sides of
right.
So it's no secret that there are political problems going on in the world when it comes to gender.
Sure.
Right? This has been, that's not, and there were people who I saw who were like, Dr. Arinsu, does that mean Dragon Ball's going woke? And I don't think Toriyama was thinking that. Just knowing Toriyama's writing, I think he was just saying that the reason why they're genderless is because they don't reproduce.
Yeah, they're fruit.
Yeah, they don't like fuck each other. Now
why she got them titties though?
That's right. You can always chili dog her, bro. And don't Google what that is, because you're gonna be grossed out. Do not Google what chili dogging is, bro. You can go to Urban Dictionary if you want.
I think my question really has been because I got
That's for you, bro.
For what? For what? What did I do that might get me in jail?
No, I think he's thinking of Canada.
Fair enough. It's all under the Commonwealth, I suppose. I will say that to me, the gender of these characters doesn't make a difference. I don't care. I
agree.
Suspension of disbelief came from the fact that she's been drawn with boobs. Despite the fact that
big ones.
Well, yeah, despite the fact her race wouldn't need them. That's my comment. That's why I say why she got them titties. I'm not just trying to be funny. It is just a case of the law established. I kind of feel like they actually need to address it, which is daft. I shouldn't really be having to say that I think Dragon Ball needs to explain boobs, but in this instance, I feel that it would help. But I mean, it takes me back to the moment that happened in the last episode in 13 when Shin was about to get eaten by the dog. And he's like, jumping out the way going, I'm not that tasty. And I'm like, bro, you're literally the only one of the cast who's a fruit. You would be the most tasty.
And by the way, for the record, when he says fruit,
yeah,
he's not using it as a slur. He's using it as because they're born from a tree. Yeah. Don't be cutting this shit out trying to cancel kanji. Lord knows that you can cancel me if you want to. They've tried already 100 times. But don't fuck with kanji, bro. He's off limits, all right? He's already taken a big risk appearing on this channel, bro.
I wouldn't call it a risk, man. I'm having a good time.
No, I know. I'm having a good time, too. This is a good stream because...
Don't start that hashtag, man. Like, that's not fair.
I was a little worried. I didn't want to get on here because I know the kind of guy that you are. And I'm going to say something right now. You're actually one of my favorite people. I'm going to tell you why. Because you're not really a negative guy. And when I talk to you, I can be negative sometimes. And even though I did not really enjoy Daima episode 13, I didn't want to come on here and spend 2 hours bitching about it. That's just not me, bro. Like I said earlier, I'm 40. Thank you for the compliments. I look younger than 40. You know why? Because I don't drink and I don't smoke. All right. That's why. I don't drink and I don't smoke. If you smoke, especially cigarettes, weed is different, but if you smoke cigarettes, you're going to age faster. I know a woman. Well, she's older now, but I knew her when she was 22, like she was 42 because she smoked like a chimney. So, yeah. And the good thing is that most people don't don't smoke. But the point I'm trying to make, I'm over here talking about my looks, bro. The ego, that damn narcissist, is that when it's you and I, bro, like it's good because it's always even if Dragon Ball, even if episode 13 was the worst piece of shit episode in the history of anime, which it wasn't, I still would find a way to have a good time with it.
Yeah, man. And I feel the same way, bro. I mean, like, you know, you only, like I said, you only ever have to look at the fusion challenges and stuff. Anything where you and I are doing anything unscripted, we just have a good time because there's just, it all just genuinely comes through. You know what I mean?
Well, you edit them down, but that's the funny thing. You edit them down, but if people were ever to hear the full one, it's like 3 hours of fucking dick and fart jokes. I remember one time years ago, I recorded a video. It was me and Chuck the Cyber Cuck. This is when MJ was editing for me. And I'm recording. Okay, first of all, actually, before I tell you that story, this is a good story. This guy said, Geekdom, does any of your friends you know smoke or vape? That you might as well ask me if any of my friends breathe air or eat food, bro. Which of my friends don't fucking smoke or vape, bro? That's the real question. Okay, so what I was trying to say was, me and Chuck recorded a video, right? This is like years ago, and I was stoned off of my wits, bro. The recording, and I usually don't do this, the recording wound up being like, it was a 9-minute, 10-minute video, maybe 13 minutes. The recording was like 25 because in the middle of it, right, I go into this marijuana-induced trance where I'm like talking to MJ in the future. I'm like, I know you're editing this, motherfucker. Don't edit this out. No, really, edit it out. Don't. And Chuck is just laughing. Like, no one's ever going to get like it goes back to like people on the internet think they know you. And this is for better or for worse. There are people in this fandom who come off like nice guys who are genuine snake pieces of shit that don't give a fuck about anything but their own fucking pockets and who don't give a fuck about nothing. There's also people in this fandom who can kind of be dickish and can kind of have a short fuse or have flaws who are actually very good people. But I think because the internet, they don't really know anything about us. They just don't know. And also good people sometimes do bad things and bad people sometimes do good things. So I think, like Vince McMahon said, bro, we're all really just shades of gray.
But to quote Vince.
I don't want to quote him now, bro. I shouldn't have because people are going to take that out of context too.
Yeah, don't cancel. No, that's something else we don't need to be canceled over.
No, yeah, right. I got 2 more super chats. I actually want to ask you a question first, though.
Sure thing.
What do you think Daima needs to do to be remembered as being like what do you think it needs to do to have its legacy be this was a good show? You know what I mean? What does it have to do in the last 7 episodes, in your opinion?
Honestly, it needs to tie a lot of the stuff together that's been dragging its feet. So like you say with the ship, if it turns out that Glorio's been sabotaging it, that makes up for some of it. Also the difference is how this show feels when you watch it all together and not week by week. Because when you watch something week by week, you get a completely different feel for it because you are then underwhelmed and deflated at the end of an episode because you're like, oh man, I'm now going to wait another 7 days to find out what happens. So, for instance, me, my wife, and my kid were going through Attack on Titan at the moment. And I haven't watched that show since it was being aired weekly. And now we're going back and watching it. The bits that I thought were slow just don't matter. You just plow through them and onto the next episode, and you just take so much more out of it. And I think that's going to be the same case with Daima, providing that it does tie up the story ends and that we get a big payoff at the end. And you know, it's Dragon Ball, so I will say we got to have a good fight at the end. You can't ride them into the sunset with ice cream and promises of chocolate kisses and fart jokes. You do have to give a nice big climactic battle to it for it to make it feel worth it. But I will say that so far there's a lot of damage control that needs to be done in those last 7 episodes.
Yeah, well, I have in my possession a unfinished black and white Toei animation early frame of the final battle, and I'll probably reveal it after Daima airs. I'll probably show everybody. I have it in my possession, and I keep thinking about it, right? Because even though it's in black and white and you can't really see that much detail, there's a shot of it. So there's a shot of the final battle that I'm telling you is taken right from Frieza versus Goku. Like, it's a shot that's very similar to that, like as far as the camera placement, right? I don't understand how you get these things. How do I get these things, Kanji?
Well, you have to treat a lot of people right and know which back doors to go into.
Back door. Yeah. Yes, bro. I let people in Japan fuck me. No, that's not how it goes. That's not how it goes. I don't sleep around for leaks. No, but I'm getting to a point here. So like, I think that if the last 3 episodes of Daima are treated with complete, maybe a little bit of comedy, but
yeah, it wouldn't be Dragon Ball if there wasn't a bit.
Yeah, a little bit, like, because even when remember when Goku fought Kid Buu and Kid Buu does that thing where he's like wiggling his butt, like that type of shit, right? I feel like this show will be remembered fondly if the last 3 episodes are able to invoke the same feelings that we got from 110 of Super and Goku versus Jiren. We need dynamic camera angles. We need tippy top animation, which we are going to get. This final fight needs to be so raw. I wouldn't be against them doing blood. I'm not saying they will, but they're gonna. That would help a lot as far as people saying, "Holy shit!" Like now they really, because it's all about sticking the landing, bro. It's all about sticking the landing, and I think if it's a great, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's what you're saying, but like it needs to be like memorable.
It needs to make it feel like the battle was worth it in the end. The thing that I'm concerned about at the moment is I find Do and Ku to be too likable, and that doesn't make me want them to lose.
Yeah, right.
And that's a problem because
are you saying you think that Do and Ku are the final villains? Or not?
I'm saying that I feel that it's I'm saying that I feel that it's being, regardless of the situation that ends up being, you've either going to have a new villain who comes in with less build-up in the last 7 episodes, or you're going to have a couple of, I don't like this at all. But then you've got the aspect of, if they are involved in the fight at all, I don't want them to lose. But then you've got the consequence of comparing it to Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 in Superhero. And either way, how many good characters? Yeah.
They were thinking what you were thinking.
What you don't want to do with these things is make your bad guys too likable, because otherwise you don't want them to lose. They trod the line very finely in the Broly movie because everybody sort of already liked Broly as far as they were concerned. So they kind of just knew what they were doing with that. And that's why Frieza was there, because they needed somebody to beat the antagonist, and Broly wasn't it. So Arinsu is obviously the antagonist of this show so far, but that doesn't mean that's where it's going to end. Dragon Ball has done other things where it's turned people at the very end and you've gone, oh, okay, they're on our side now. So it's hard to stick the landing, I think, with this.
Yeah, they just have to deliver. But also, it's kind of funny. I remember when the Majin Ku episode aired, I watched a review from another YouTuber, and the guy was like, "I think this is the final villain," and I'm like, because I knew, like, and you knew too, bro. It wasn't like you didn't know about these characters before we saw them. That's all I'm gonna say is that you knew. You don't know everything, but you've seen some stuff. But it's like but after seeing Majin Ku and doing the series, part of me wants Daima to end with like Majin Ku singing karaoke, right, at a bar. Like when they show, like, I want Daima to end. Okay, you remember how like back in the day movies would end and they would show us all the characters and what they were up to. So like it'll say like like so and so went to college, so and so did this. So like Majin Ku opened up his own bar and grill. Majin Du cooks food and Majin Ku sings karaoke. That's a great ending for those characters. In the demon realm, they do it, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I that's the thing. I loved that, like, Majin Ku was like, well, I'm pretty good at going to the shops and stuff if you want me to do that. And then literally in, like, the next episode, he's going to the shops for Majin Du. And I loved that. I thought it was a really stupid joke and it just hit me right. I was just like, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. What was I going to tell you? Like, that would work for me. And like maybe if one of the siblings, like maybe Neba, let's say Neba. Oh, Neba decided to go to Planet Namek and be with the new Namekians, because that wouldn't really be a plot hole. Stuff like that I think could work. All right, so we've got a couple more super chats that have come in. We're gonna close out with these. Okay. We'll be quick with these, man. Okay.
Yeah,
Gabby.
Just before you read this, I just want to say, everybody in the chat, you've contributed to this being just as fun as this. Like, we've had a good time, but everybody in the chat, I don't think I've been on a live stream before that I've enjoyed reading the comments as we've been going it as much as this one. This one has been great.
Yes, and the thing that I love about my audience, and I've said this before, I want to make this very clear. I am not kissing ass and I'm not sucking dick. I am not one of those YouTubers that sucks off his audience. You see a lot of these motherfuckers doing it, and it's fake. I'm very real about this. I am super proud of my audience, even though I'm not the biggest YouTuber. I'm nowhere near as big as like Team 4-Star or some others, and I never will be, and I'm okay with that. The people in my comments, there's obviously going to be some knuckleheads, but people have been very, very good to me. When I spoiled Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and I apologized for it in the community tab, people gave me so much grace. And I couldn't even believe it, because you have to understand, the internet never fucking forgives. The internet, if you do something stupid 10 years ago, the internet will bring it back up again. In my case, I'm way past caring about that kind of stuff, but they showed me so much grace, and they were like, yo, like, we actually appreciate you taking accountability. That changed my whole, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just everything. I'm not going to kiss their ass, but they're good. Like, the majority of them are good people.
You can have a bad day and you can do something and be like, oh man, like, this was a mistake. How is anybody going to forgive me? And then you've got just a solid, good group of people there that just can take some of the weight off. And that's all it often takes to get you through some of the stuff, because a lot of people don't understand doing the job that you do on YouTube it's a lot harder than just sitting at a computer and uploading videos. There's a lot, you don't really stop working. For me, my channel, sadly, as I don't really like going into this particularly, but I feel like with you guys, again, because the chat's been so fun, and obviously it's with yourself, you already know, my home life isn't as simple as I would like it to be. I have a son with quite complex additional needs. And that means that I have to prioritize my family over a lot of the stuff I would prefer to do on YouTube and art and all these other things. So when I get to come here and we get to have a good time and we get to it's an escape for me. And so this has been a really, really Great time. So thanks for having me on, and thank you again for everybody for being so fun in the chat, because it's just made everything so much better.
Yeah, no, and it's true. Like the people think they know you, right? Like people online think they don't know shit. Like, and that's not even like a diss. It's just I don't know them either. Like, you don't know what someone's really going through. Like I go through. Yeah. There's a lot of shit that I go through that I never talk about publicly. Like I never do.
There's stuff you shared with me that you would never put online, and like people just don't understand the half of it.
Yeah, and but also like I don't know, I'm kind of like that even before the YouTube thing, because like I'll often I think it's because my dad kind of raised me to be this sort of what's the word, like kind of stubborn, not stubborn macho, but like I'm the kind of guy who, like, if something's bothering me, I'll try not to let it eat me up, even though sometimes that fails. And I've had like women in my life, like exes or even my therapist. No, it's okay, Danny. You can show your emotions. And I almost never do. I no sell a lot of things just because. But sometimes, you can't help it. All right. Let's get to this. These last few. Okay, so Gabby says people hate Resurrection FTV arc, which is okay. I don't like it either, but I would rather watch that any day over that granola trash. Okay, well, I respect your opinion. Granola's again. It's hard to compare manga to anime, but I disagree with you. I think the granola arc is better than Resurrection F. The movie's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's got problems, but I don't. It's like the weakest of the recent movies.
Yeah.
But I disagree. I like Granola more than Resurrection F. What about you?
I think Resurrection F was more fun during the hype for it when nobody had seen it. When we had Golden Frieza and we had like Super Saiyan Blue and all this stuff introduced, or Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan at the time.
Right.
All that stuff was so awesome to be caught up in the whirlwind of that hype. But these days, I think, looking back on it in hindsight as just a sole property of what it is, I do think Resurrection F sort of fails to hold up, even as the movie. But again, to compare,
but the arc is horrible.
Yeah. Because it's only meant to be a movie. I mean, like, it's meant to be, an hour and 40 minutes or however long it is, and
less.
So, well, yeah.
I think
so
less, yeah.
Comparing that to a manga arc that had so many chapters, I'm not even going to pretend to try and do the maths to work out how many chapters it had, but to try and stretch that out, and then to compare that to something that was less than an hour and 40 minutes does make you kind of go, well, there's going to be a lot more story in Granola, whether you like the way it goes or not.
Yeah, and plus the Resurrection F TV arc is, in my opinion, the worst thing that Dragon Ball's ever put out. The animation quality is garbage because most of the team was working on the One Piece movie at the time.
Right.
With the stuff that Toei added was horrible. I absolutely despise that arc, and I never, ever, ever want to watch it again. I'm serious. I will go back, brother, and I'll rewatch Goku versus Jiren or some shit from the old show a billion times. Dude, I never want to watch it again unless I have to, and I never will. I remember when I was watching Resurrection F with a girl I was with, the arc. This is when Super was around. It was painful because I'm sitting there, right? And she's clearly not connecting with it. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
It was hard to connect with. Somebody just put, where was it? A parody account put, same for Copy Vegeta with me, no thanks. And I've got to say, the Copy Vegeta stuff, I completely agree. But I will say the dub actually did all right because they brought Brian Drummond in for it, and that was a really, really nice, like, I like
Easter egg.
Yeah.
No, and I actually, he's talking about the Poltafu arc. I don't like Copy Vegeta, but at least it's more fun than Resurrection F. The TV arc, not the movie. The movie is better. Okay. Pablo De Rosa says, I don't understand people disliking Dragon Team fighting giant demon dog. Daima is a JRPG. You can pick to do only the main mission, but then most fun is enjoying the side quest either. Okay, but brother, RPGs are long. Daima's 20 episodes, man. Like at this point, Daima needs to start building up to its finale. And unless the finale is longer, which is something that's a possibility, the last episode might be longer. It's not that I am not saying episode 13 was the worst piece of it's not even in the top 5 worst episodes of all time in Dragon Ball, like including GT. It's not even the top 10 even. It's just the fact that it's inconsequential, most of it, for a series this short. That's what it is. So it's not about just that episode. It's about how that episode connects to the whole thing.
Right. I would actually also go as far as to say it also depends where you decide to do those side missions when you play a JRPG as well. Like, I don't tend to stop in the climax and like go and do like a side mission.
I've heard. That's why you have a kid. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't have a
kid. Damn you. I left that door wide open. You just kicked that one down. I got to look after the back doors now.
You got to look out for the back and the front now, bro.
Yeah, you're coming in both ways.
Don't be like Goma, bro. Don't underestimate. All right, Dai-chan says, everyone do things for a reason, I believe. That might have been over something earlier. Yeah, some people, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't have context for this, so I can't really answer it. Captain Cold Cuts, is Goma the final villain? I don't feel comfortable revealing that on this stream because that would be a leak. I'm not going to tell you who the final villain is because I told you I would not leak anything on the stream. So don't, just understand, I'm not going to give you any leaks. If I do a stream that's going to go into leaks, I will literally title it Leaks with big letters so that people know what's up. This is just a discussion. Do you think there is a chance we see a version of Super Saiyan 4 even with Fusion on the way? Again, I can't go into anything transformation-wise. I already have revealed there is a new transformation coming. I said that already. Whether you want to call that a leak or not, I mean, it's Dragon Ball. They always do new transformations. I'm not saying I'm okay with it, but this transformation that is going to happen in Dragon Ball is something very different from anything in Super. And that's why I know that next month, Kanji, we got 1 month left, bro. Next month, we're going to see the absolute meltdown of the fandom because there are going to be people who are going to throw babies in the air as to what they're going to do. And there's going to be people who are going to be like, well, what the fuck?
People are going to throw, those people are going to throw the babies on the ground.
Yeah. And that's not a good thing, bro. That's not a good thing. So, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory dream job. I think when you type your super chats, bro, you got to give me more context. I'm not really sure. I guess working in the Chocolate Factory. Well, you know what? That should be the Majin Buu finale. He gets a job at a chocolate factory. Choco.
Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
There would be a joke somewhere in there. It just wasn't the best one. Sorry.
Actually, it's not that bad. I actually like it. Toriyama would like that. All right. JD says, what if, be careful, JD. You're going to set yourself up for failure, bro. What if Glorio knows about Warp and the other spell barrier option, and he's the one to shoot Goku, take the Dragon Balls, leaving them in Demon World 2? Okay, that's actually probable. That's actually possible if that happens next episode. That is, I don't think it's going to happen, but that is possible. What do you think?
I had to reread it a few times. Yeah, I think it's possible as well. I think I think it depends what the reasoning for it to happen is. Like, because that suggests that they're not going to make the wish, I suppose.
Well, they're going to try and get it. They're going to make us think Rinsu's going to make the wish. Whatever she's going to. We don't even know what she's going to wish for.
No. Maybe
there will be
3 centimeters taller.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe she'll wish for a vagina, bro. Then everyone will be happy. Are you thinking about it, bro? Is that your next piece of art, bro?
I was about to say, bro, you hit the nail on the head. I'm an artist, bro. Like, you only have to float these words in front of it, and my brain goes,
I want to answer this guy's questions that he forgot he could turn giant in Superhero. Remember in Superhero, Gohan was like, didn't you turn giant or some shit? And Piccolo was like, oh yeah, he forgot, bro. I guess Piccolo does have a bad memory. I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
So if a Rinsu wishes for a vagina, are you going to draw it, bro? Is that
we're going back on this, are we, bro? We're going back to this.
We're having a good time today, bro.
If anybody wants to commission that, that'll take up an evening for me.
Oh, more than one evening, knowing you, bro. That could be a few evenings.
What's that supposed to mean, bro?
When your wife is like, I'm taking a vacation. All right, I'll see you in a week. That's you, bro. That's you. You start doing this shit. You know where I got that from? Remember on The Simpsons? All right, on The Simpsons. Remember the sea captain? He got a picture of Patty or Selma's like hairy legs, and he goes, "Arr, this will keep me busy in those lonely nights at sea." I did not understand that joke when I was a kid, Kanji.
That's the fun of it.
Yeah, I had to grow up to understand that joke. Arr, this will keep me busy with those lonely nights at sea. He said it just like that, bro.
There's so many like layered TV shows like that when you're younger, and it is good fun. It's good fun to watch those things back and go, oh, that was a joke for the dads. Oh.
What about this one? Is Rinsu more hot than Volmi? Well, first of all, I don't jack off to cartoon characters. No offense if you do,
Yeah, stay in your lane, man.
Yeah. I like real women. But this is a debate. We could put a poll up. I don't want to because, people are going to think that I'm into it. But should we do you think we should, before we get out of here, do a poll about this?
Bro, this live has been so unhinged. It wouldn't even make you look bad if you didn't anyway.
But everything makes me look bad, bro. People have gone out of their way to make everything I say look bad. So, okay, first of all, the eat bugs thing. We got 72% have not done it. 28% of you sickos have. I'm sorry. What were you saying, bro?
I was just going to reference the, earlier when we were talking about the fusion challenges and you're talking about the amount of like airtime that gets cut out of the videos. Back when we did the Super Fusion Challenge around the Tournament of Power Time and I had Ken Zyro on that, there was so much good stuff that was cut out of that. And I felt so bad that I had to cut so much down. But I had too many guests on that one. I had too many guests and it meant that everybody's time allocation got butchered. This time with you on it and Derek Padula and Dimsy and stuff, it was good fun, that was. And I didn't have to cut down nearly as much on that.
Right. So I did put the poll up right now. It's in the chat. Right. The poll is up. Did you see what I wrote?
I've seen.
Pick one to jerk it to, you sick fucks. Volmi right now a Rinsu's winning 62% of the time, bro. Or 62%. 60. Oh no. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Volmi's coming back. 58. In case you didn't know, Volmi is 21. Well, it's not. Volmi is the woman that 21 is based
on. Yeah,
because it's not the same person. Volmi, I think, died, and then it's the same thing with 16. Like, it wasn't that he turned his son into 16. He modeled 16 after.
Because it makes sense, because people are always like, how did Jiro pull, like, Vomi or whatever like that? And it's like, well, maybe Jiro was, like, ripped and gorgeous when he was younger. I mean, who are you to judge, like,
Did you ever see that fan? It was like a fan-made thing that basically theorized that 13 is what he used to Android 13.
I had seen that.
Yeah, that was viral
for headcanon.
Yeah, I kind of like it too, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like, it makes perfect sense, really. I mean, then you have to explain 14 and 15.
Well, one was his Mexican friend who can't stop drinking, and the other one was his Russian friend who can't speak English. Or Japanese or whatever.
Bro. Oh, man. And once again, the door was left wide open and you just kicked it through.
Hey, that's how we do it around here. All right, we actually got one more here. Do you think that Remus or Rimus, I think you mean Rimus, guy, however you spell his name, it's R-Y or R-I, it doesn't matter, created the demon realm or someone from his lineage? No, buddy, you gotta watch the episode or watch my breakdown of it. We already explained that. He did not create the demon realm. He's from the demon realm. What happened was, and this is all in the breakdown video, what happened was the king of the demon realm at that time, this was millions of years ago. This is before Planet Namek was established. This is before the Super Dragon Balls. This is before Zalama. This is like the furthest back in the timeline. All the way back. This is like the Big Bang of Dragon Ball, bro. And speaking of Big Bang, we're at 59% for Arinsu, 42% for Vomi, bro.
Good segue, man. Good segue.
That's a good segue. No, but
that was good. Yeah.
So the king of the demon realm told Rimus, be fruitful and multiply, basically. So he created the multiverse and put the Kais in charge. Now, there is no mention of gods of destruction. There's no mention of angels. And I think they're not going to mention it because then it would be like giving things, counting your chickens before they hatch, giving things away too much. But yeah, we can assume that he has something. But that's why I think they're not done with him, because they have to explain how we went from Glenn's becoming Supreme Kais to all of a sudden there being God the Destruction, angels. That story is still unfinished. And I'm scared, Kenji, because Toriyama passed away. Like, we may never even get the answer to these questions. Or we'll get Toyotaro's fucking acolyte sucking ass to fucking come up with some bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we both know Akira Yoku's obviously, he was very close knit with Toriyama anyway. I would like to think that Toriyama would have given him a plethora of ideas to work with. I'm sure, because I mean, it was implied Toriyama knew he was coming to the end of his life. That was the implication, was really with the illness that he had.
I talked to somebody from Viz who told me that they also believe that they believe that Shueisha knew.
And that gives more credence as well to that manga panel with Piccolo and everything like that. Not that we knew it was going to happen as rapidly as it did after that, but it does, Toyotaro was probably in the loop as well, And so it says to me that Toriyama has probably left quite a lot to work on going forward from that.
I hope so. I wish we got confirmation of that. Yeah, he just came in. He missed the whole stream. You're gonna want to watch this stream, bro.
It's been a good one, man. It's been a good one.
But yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on. Thanks, everybody. Also, I think we're done. Hopefully that is. I had a good time, bro. Like, even though I wasn't a big fan of episode 13, we still turned the negative into a positive, and I do think that 14 will be better because the plot is progressing. Hopefully we'll finally get to Demon Realm 1 and we can see more of it, because it looks like hell. Not Dragon Ball's hell. It looks like the hell that we are used to in the West. You know what I mean? With the red and the fire and there's rain. And
absolutely, man.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, Kenji, bro, let them know what you're working on so they can check you out.
Guys, as always, like I was saying to you earlier, my channel has been a bit quiet lately. Don't despair. Well, don't despair. Don't bat your eyes at it. It is literally just a case of the fact that I just have to manage how frequently I upload with my family stuff, as I explained earlier. But I do have more fun videos coming up soon. I'm hoping to do more Dragon Ball Fusion challenges, where obviously Danny is currently our champion. Maybe we'll wait until.
I ain't never dropping that title, bro.
Maybe not at this rate, bro.
Kenji, I'm never dropping that title. Let's not forget, I beat Herms.
You beat Herms?
I beat Herms. I beat Dimsy. Go ahead, tell them everybody I beat, bro. Derek Padula,
Rhyme Style. There was. I'm trying to think of everybody who's been in it now.
There's a lot of people.
Man, it's too many. Like, and a lot of so many of them. There's a large chunk of them that don't even do YouTube anymore. You beat them so bad they didn't want they didn't want to do it anymore.
Do you remember the Dragon Ball Olympics? Do you have any memory of that?
I do. Yes. Yeah. I had to think about it for a sec, but yeah, man, that brings some stuff back.
I'll let the people in the chat know before we get out of here. The Dragon Ball Olympics was this idea I had back in 2016. It was going to be hosted by me and Expert Games. There's a guy who doesn't upload anymore. And was Herms the champ? No, Dimsy was the champ. Herms fought for the title, but he lost to me. I beat him by 1 point, I think, right? It was like 1 point.
Yes. Yeah.
I beat Herms by 1 point, bro. So, and I'm going to talk shit about that, bro. But no. And so the Dragon Ball Olympics was going to be this trivia contest. We're going to get all the content creators together and we're going to do this massive trivia on Expert Games' channel. And I had all the questions. I had a whole database full of questions and it just never happened.
It sucks, man, when these things happen like that, but it does. I went to a Bandai Namco thing before where they were letting us try out Dragon Ball Kakarot, and I was there with Masako X, and they did. Dimsy was there, and a bunch of other creators, and we all had to do like this big Dragon Ball quiz, and it was some of the questions were bizarre.
Stupid.
They were like to do. Yeah, they were to do with the time dilation stuff in the Room of Spirit and Time. And I'm like, as you pointed out earlier, I'm not a maths guy. And I was like, oh, man, what the, and we had to think about all these sorts of things. And anyway, I ended up tying with Masako for the victory. And they gave us a tie-break question. And I cannot remember what it was now. And I think it was something like, oh, who's the first character you ever see fly in Dragon Ball? And I was like, oh, do they mean the Bokujutsu technique? And then the guy who gave
that is a trick question. That is a trick question.
The guy doing the quiz went, and I'll give you a hint, it's not who you think it was. And so I was like, okay, so right. And so I went, okay, well, if it's not who I think it is, I'm going to go with the stupid answer. So I said the pterodactyl in episode 1. The answer he wanted was Poir.
And, I knew it. I knew it. I think he meant main character, not creature with wings.
Well, the pterodactyl put up a pretty good character plot in the first episode. I thought it was relevant, but what can you do? He
got whacked on the back of the neck with the stick. Yeah, Poir's the first character we see fly that isn't supposed to fly, but I'm not sure if Poir is using Bukujutsu. But we know that Tenshinhan and Chaozu do, so they're like the ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The Fusion Challenge is the game. Go ahead.
I was about to say, you're getting some love from everybody saying you ain't going to drop the title and everything, man. Like,
no, I'm not, bro. Fuck that. It's hard to beat me, bro. All right, I'll ask you a trivia question before we leave. This is one that came up recently. When the Saiyans landed on Earth in the Saiyan saga, what time was it?
Oh, man, now you're asking.
We watched. This is a real trivia question. We watched this episode in the last Saturday stream I did. That's why it's fresh in my mind.
Was it? I don't remember there being a minute specific time. So was it 11 o'clock? Or is there a minute specific time?
There is a minute specific time.
You got me then, bro. You've got me there.
No, but you weren't wrong. It's 11:43 a.m.
I didn't remember the minutes. I just yeah.
Oh, well, I'll take that. Why did this guy write 8:15 a.m., bro? No, it's 11:43. It's no. I mean, I knew you weren't going to answer it unless you remember. Even I couldn't memorize that, but
I'm happy to be in the right hour though.
12:20 is when they ambush Gohan and Piccolo. I don't think they said that, but that might be true. I don't remember. Anyways, all right, bro, we're out of here. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. I'll see y'all tomorrow for the Mongolorian. Take care. Stop by the Mongolorian stream. We have a good time. Thank you, Kenji, as always.
Anytime, man. Thanks for having me on. It's been a great laugh, and thank you to everybody in the comments as well. Like I said, you guys have been great too.
Yes, you've been great. Thank you. I'll see you guys soon.